Hi guys, welcome back to Beat the Game. This is Steve, and it's time to talk about Vision, understanding the mechanics. That's right. I had a chance to play Vision a bunch in the last week, so I really feel like I got a nice, good understanding of what he's supposed to do, how he's supposed to be played, which is very, very cool in my opinion. It's a very fun way to play this character, and there's a lot of subtleties into how you're going to be playing and approaching the game with Vision, depending on what aspect you've chosen, and also on what's going on at the time on the board and the cards in hand. So that is something I really like about Vision, is it gives the player a lot of decision making to do, and that is something I do appreciate in a character. It's not super linear. It's not like I know what I'm going to do from beginning to end. I have choices, and choices are the best in this type of game. So for me, Vision has a big A plus on that. All right, so now let's take a look at something that kind of caused a little bit of controversy here in the community. I disagree with a lot of what is being said about the whole Vision and the controversy. I understand where people are coming from, but also look at the game logic, the logic in the game, where this is where, again, this is my personal opinion. You guys are free to make your own opinions and play the game how you see it fit. And until we have an official ruling, but I think Caleb actually did say something in an interview about this. So again, kind of like what happened with the War Machine action on the alter ego side, that did not have a limits once per round in brackets. People are like, oh, I can do this infinitely. So I think, again, it's just using the common sense here and just doing whatever feels right. All right, so the first thing is the form card. Okay, so that form card, why it's causing so much controversy is because Vision has on its alter ego side the setup ability of putting that into play intangible phase up. Now, the reason why it's causing some controversy is because if you're doing it as a setup, it technically is a card that should be in your deck, and then you put it into form. But the way I see it is, look, I'm intangible. It is a permanent card. All right, so it's a permanent. It is not part of my deck. It's like the deck glow. It's set aside on the side, and it doesn't count towards my deck. All right, same thing for the energy forms of what's her face there, Spectrum. Now, the reason why it's causing so much dilemma is, does Vision start with 5 cards or 6? This is where everyone's at, because it says while you're in tangible form, you get a +1 hand size. Okay, so here's the deal: if this comes into play after the setup, you technically already have your hand. But if it's already in play, if it starts in play, which is what I believe permanents do, anything that it says is a permanent begins the game in play. This is how I interpret it. And again, feel free to interpret it however you like. If you don't like what I'm saying, you could just shut down the video and just ignore everything else. But again, it's a game. Let's just not overcomplicate this. Feel whatever feels right. I've played it with a 5 hand size. I've played it with a 6 hand size. It doesn't really matter. It's one card is one card. All right. So there you go. So this is where the big dilemma is. Okay, does he start with a hand size of 6 or 5? That's it. All right. That's the big dilemma. All right. So for me, it starts with it into play. It's not part of it's not like Captain America's Shield, which is a card that's actually inside your deck, or one of the Black Panther upgrades, which has the same kind of setup ability that is resolved after mulligans. Again, that's where the issue is like, why is this a setup? This should just be, it shouldn't, I know they have to write it, but the thing is, the way they wrote it creates confusion. So I get it. I get the problem. I see the problem. Everyone understands the problem. Then at that point, just like, does it come into play? Does it kind of come into play? Choose and do whatever you want. There you go. And then it's just a game. If it makes you happy to start with a hand size of 5, do it. Okay, I'm done with this. I'm done with this. Okay, so let's read about Vision. So Vision is he's an android, which is very interesting. He has a recovery of 3, and while you are in dense mass form, you get a +2 recovery. And then while you're in intangible form, you get +1 hand size. And then he has this card that comes out of play that you can switch and does not count towards your form change, but you can change your density change. So from intangible, which says mass form permanent, Vision cannot attack or defend. So no attacks, no defense. So that means no attack events, no defense events. But I reduced the amount of damage from each attack by 2. So that's very, very cool. And if you haven't seen Brant's Vision Minion Collector, that was super fun because you're just taking no damage from like having 15 minions. And that's just beyond that, but that's super cool. All right, and then the dense form, it says mass form permanent. While you are in hero form, Vision gets +2 attack and +2 defense. So give him his stats, making his stats a 2/2/2, which is very solid. It's very well rounded. And then response, after you change to this form, draw a card. Okay, so here's where I think again it doesn't break it. If you have a hand size of 5 when you start, and then you switch to dense form, you then have a hand size of 6. But if you are in intangible with a hand size of 6 and then change to dense, then you get a hand size technically of 7 on your first turn. Does it matter? It can change the outcome of a game. One thing also to remember is you cannot change your forms in Alter Ego. Now, I made that mistake on my first game, and then I redid another game because I had completely spaced on that. So yeah, so you can only change form while you are in hero form, which is the density manipulation action. So that, at least we all agree on that. Okay, so that being said, so there you go. So either dense or intangible. So if you want to have being able to attack and defend, then you need to be dense. If you don't need to attack or defend, then you can be intangible and be on the intangible form. And so that's super cool that you have these options. All right, so now let's take a look at some of his signature cards. I think the first one is 616 Hickory Branch Lane. Now, if you see my playthrough, I was doing Hickory Dickory Dock because I thought it was just this card is just crazy. It just runs around the clock because it's only an alter ego action. But what it says is a 1-cost support, a location, and it says you exhaust its card and you search your deck and discard pile for an android ally and add it to your hand. Now, we're not going to lie. There is only one card that you want to go get with that all the time, and that's his signature ally. All right, so this is extremely powerful. This is a tutor every time you're an alter ego. But it's not only that it's a tutor, it's one of the best tutor for the best allies in this game, which is Vivian. Normally I like to talk about the signature allies at the end, but because of this tutor action, it's just crazy. So I can go intangible. So check this out. I can go to alter ego, tutor this, use this. If I'm dense, she attacks for 3. If I'm intangible, she thwarts for 3. And then I do it again next turn. And then she goes to the discard pile. I activate my Hickory Branch Lane, and I go get it again. I'm like, wow. So that's that for 2 in 2 turns. She thwarted for 3 or 6, or attacked for 6 in two turns. That's amazing value, and it just keeps coming back. All right. So Vivian is a 2-cost ally with 1 thwart, 1 attack, 2 health. She's an android and a champion. And while you are intangible mass form, she gets +2 thwart, and if you are dense, she gets +2 attack. And then I love the little "I love you, Daddy." Yeah, but she's definitely Daddy's girl because if you're playing Vision, you're playing Vivian. Like it's insane how much value you get out of these 2 cards once they're on the table. It's insane. So again, this is probably one of the most powerful allies in the game. So that's pretty crazy. All right, now let's take a look at some of the other upgrades. Now we have 2 copies of this card, which is called Density Control. It is a hero response. It is a superpower, which is cool because Def Focus is really, really good with this character. After you change to mass form, discard, and add a Vision event from your discard pile to your hand. So we're going to take a look at the Vision events later, but there's some really strong events that can really help you control the game. So that is very, very cool. And there's 2 copies of that. And when you flip forms, you actually get to bring one of those really cool events that Vision has back to your hand. So again, very cool. So again, it's any type of recursion, and I'll mention it again as I've mentioned it before. Recursion is value. It's crazy good value. You can't go wrong with recursion. All right, now let's take his last two upgrades. The first one is Vision's Cape. It is a 2-cost upgrade. Vision Cape, it is an item. It's a cool item because it's a cape. And it says, while you are in dense mass form, you gain Retaliate 1. That's cool. And then that opens up a lot of possibilities with protection and stuff like that because of the Retaliate. And while you are an intangible, you gain Stalwart. Stalwart is a keyword that definitely should have been on Hulk, but apparently the android gets to get it first. So Stalwart, very, very cool. So you cannot be stunned, you cannot be confused. So if ever you get stunned if you're playing, let's say, with a collector that keeps stunning and confusing you, well, you just flip to intangible one time once you have this, and boop, boop, bye-bye. Bye-bye my stun, bye-bye my confuse, for free. There you go. No need night nurses. He just, there you go, brushes it off. So that is a very cool upgrade here that actually does two different things. So again, super cool choices here for the player to do. So I love that. All right, next one is just a generic, I call it a mana rock, or basically a resource generator. It is the solar gem. All right, so it's the mind stone that he has in his brain. And it gives him the aerial trait, so that's kind of fun because then you have all these nice, cool aerial cards that you can do in Justice and in aerial supremacy. I forget the one it's called there. Ever Vigilant. The dive bomb. Nobody really uses dive bomb because it's so expensive, but dive bomb's there, and then the agile flight as well in Justice. So it does open up a few cards for Vision, and it gives him a wild resource, so that's not that bad. So that's a cool little thing there. Just any type of resource generation in a hero kit is always good. All right, now he's got these really cool these one-of events that are very, very fun. So he's got one for the intangible form and one for the dense form. His intangible one is called Phase Disruption. Is a 2-cost event, again a superpower. And you can only play if you are an intangible mass form. So here's the thing. So he has a hero action. You get to confuse the enemy. So any hero that has access to stun and confuse is going to be top tier. All right, it's really good. Choose an attachment on that enemy with the text hero action or hero response and discard that attachment. So again, this is very fun. So Ronin has that what's his stupid thing there that makes him it gives him stalwart and something like that. So you can get rid of it. Drang's spear, Ronin's hammer, I forget what it's called anyway. So this you just discard it. You just get rid of it. It's very, very cool. So that's very funny. You get to disarm even Thanos. Again, Thanos, you won't be able to confuse him, but it doesn't matter. Getting rid of those things for the cost of 2, it's really good because most of the time it's like exhaust and spend like 2-3 resources. So again, you're doing pretty much the same thing, but as a signature card without having to exhaust, so giving your character able to do other stuff. So this is a very fun card. Really like Phase Disruption, especially with these villains that have tons of attachments. Looking at Loki, Hela, and so on and so forth. They're collector. The galactic artifacts there. That's one nasty one that Vision can just steamroll over with that card. And again, with the density control, he gets to get some of those back, so he can just remove 2-3 things in a turn, which is super fun. Now the other one is Mass Increase, and again, that's the unique. It's one for when you are dense. It says only if you are in dense mass form. It's a defense card, which is always fun. And a superpower, and hero interrupt defense when Vision defends. So when Vision defends, so you actually have to be defending right now. So you cannot not defend. So you have to defend. Okay? And when he defends, you prevent all the damage from that attack, and you stun the attacking enemy after that attack resolves. So that is very cool. So you take no damage and you defend. So hello Thanos. obviously you're not defending, you're not stunning him, but you're still like, oh, he's going to attack me for 10. Boom. I take no damage. Merry Christmas me. So that's very, very cool. I like the mass increase. It's very fun, especially with villains that can be stunned. It's super good. All right, and then we have a couple of unique cards again that are, again, depending on what form. We have 2 copies of Just Passing Through. And again, this is going to be more if you are intangible. It says a 1-cost event, Superpower Thwart. You can only play that if you are in intangible mass form. And then hero action, remove 3 threat from a scheme, ignoring the patrol and crisis icons. So that is very cool. So even if there's a crisis, you can still remove from the main, which is very, very cool and can be very useful sometimes. So 2 copies of that card. And then finally, Super Dense Strike. So again, you have to be dense for this one. Again, it's a unique card that has 2 copies of it. And it's again, depending on what form you're in at the time. So play only if you are in dense form, hero action. It's an attack, deal 5 damage to an enemy, and that attack gains piercing. So they're giving Vision so many good tools that they should have kind of split off. Valkyrie should have had piercing. You know, Valkyrie needed piercing. I don't see how his punch can pierce. But again, that's just me rambling off. Because Valkyrie has a spear and she can't pierce. But he has his fist and he can pierce. So again, this is me just being a dick right now. Just like nitpicking on little details. All right. It could have gotten overkill. It could have gotten stuff like that. I don't know. Maybe deal more damage and not have piercing. Anyway. Okay, so that's me. So 5 damage to an enemy. This attack gains piercing. All right, so there you go. So I don't see how thematic that one is. I just like that. Okay, it's 2 for 5 damage. It's cool. I think it could have been a little bit stronger, like in terms of attack. But again, once we're going to see the next card, I understand why they just put it like that. And then finally, the last one, which is a multiform card. So it doesn't matter if you're dense or intangible. Again, you'll be able to choose in what form you want to be to have 2 different effects. So the first one is a 3-cost Solar Beam event, attack, superpower, thwart. Now, just remind yourself, if you are confused, if ever you get confused and you try to play this, even if you were trying to do the attack one, the attack will fail because it is also has the trait of attack and thwart. So just remind yourself that. So if you are dense, it's going to be an attack, and then Vision is in dense form. It's going to deal 7 damage to an enemy. That's not bad. And then in hero action, thwart, if you're intangible, it's going to remove 5 threat from a scheme. So again, 3 for 5. It's kind of like the Hulk suborbital leap. It's not that bad. 7 damage is just like the have at thee for Valkyrie. So again, it's not that bad. I think this should have had overkill because that seems like a mega attack. His super strong punch for me. Again, nitpicking. Yeah, I think that Solar Beam would have been more enticing if it did have the overkill on that because it seems so powerful, you know. And this he's just like punching a Hydra soldier. Like, you really need piercing to punch a Hydra soldier? Or that could have had piercing, you know, because it's a giant laser coming at you. That made more sense. Anyway, again, nitpicking. That's just me. All right, so that is it for the Vision cards. All right, so not too bad. You know, it's some cool cards. You know, I know some people he felt a little vanilla. I really like the whole thing of trying to figure out what form you want to be in when your turn ends and when you want to do and what you want to do with the card. So I think it's really, really cool. He came with a lot of reprints though, like the sidesteps, the Indomitables, the Get Behind Me's. All right, so I feel like he got a lot of reprints for protection, so I was kind of hoping that we would get a lot more cards, but the few cards that we did get are extremely powerful. All right, so the first one that we got, the first event that we got is called Defiance. And this is a great card for multiple different aspect strategies. The first one is damage mitigation. That is going to be a great card for that. It's also a great card for perfect defense strategy. So that is very cool. and the bonus of the effect on that card is really, really solid. So Defiance is a 0 card. When a boost card on an enemy attacking you would be turned face up, discarded instead. So if you get, this is super good against Mutagen Formula, Claw, Ronin, anybody, Nebula. Oh my god, Nebula is going to be a breeze when you play protection against her. Because Defiance discards that card. So even if it has a star boost, it's just gone. So her techniques wouldn't come into play. The goblins, the goblin thralls or goblin soldiers don't come into play. If it's an attachment like Loki's attachments or Hela's attachments, they don't come into play. So that's really cool. Now, if this combined with cards that can see the future, like Heimdall or Falcon or other cards like that, you have a way to see what's coming up. This makes this card a very cool combo potential. So again, right now it's great for damage mitigation and it's great for the perfect defense strategy. Again, great card. Now, next one that we have is, oh my god, Flow Like the Water. So Flow Like Water is an amazing card for protection. It's a way to deal damage. So again, we already had a couple ways to deal damage and protection. This just gave us another option for doing what we want to be doing in the first place. So Flow Like Water, Amazeballs card. It's a 2-cost upgrade. You can play under any player's control. Unless you're a couple players playing protection, I don't see why you would play this under somebody else. The reason why is there is not a lot of defense events in the hero kits. There's Spider-Man that has the backflips. There's Perry. There's Captain America's shield block there. There's a few cards that have the defense trait. Ms. Marvel, though, if somebody's playing Ms. Marvel, you definitely give that to her because then the wiggle rooms deal damage and bounce back, so that's super good. So Flow Like Water is an amazing card for these strategies, for perfect defense, for control, for all these different types of protection things that you can do. So definitely a great card to include. And then we got 3 new allies. So we only got 2 cards. I wish there was a third one, but whatever. Yeah, you get what we get. But then we got some allies. The first one we got is Victor Mancha. Now, he's a 2-cost ally. He's a 0 attack, 0 thwart with 1 consequence damage. So why would you use him? You wouldn't. He's definitely a great blocker, though. It says he is an android and an avenger, and you reduce the amount of damage Victor Mancha takes from each attack by 1. So he has 4 health. So if he can basically block a minion indefinitely, a 1-attack minion, or he can block a 2-attack minion 4 times. That's super good. That saves you 8 damage for 2. It's really good. Or he can, most of the time, he can actually block the villain once, maybe twice. If you're lucky and you're playing against something that doesn't have a high attack power, like Claw, he might even survive 3 attacks from the boss. So Victor Mancha, again, he's a cool ally that, if you know the encounter deck, you can actually play to his strength of his innate ability of reducing the damage. So that is something to think about when you want to include Victor Munchies, which I call them, in your deck. Then we got my new favorite ally. It's Jocasta. Man, Jocasta! Jocasta here is an android avenger with a 3-cost, but so good. She thwarts for 2 with 2 consequence. She attacks for 1 with 1 consequence. She's got 3 hit points. And you may play the event attached to Jocasta if it were in your hand. So that's right. It's Black Panther protection. There you go. It's the Black Panther ally that we got in leadership, but we got it for protection now. It's a response after Jocasta enters play. Choose a defense event in your discard pile and attach it to her face down. No. It's a discard. It's a defense event. So if you have a shield, like your shield block there from Captain America, you can pull that with her. If you have the wiggle rooms from Ms. Marvel, you can pull that from her. If you have your parries from Drax and Protection, you pull that with her. So you have all these great protection cards from some of these allies. And even for Vision, the mass defense there, the mass what's it called again? Mass increase, which stuns the enemy and you take no damage, can be recurred. My God. So again, what am I saying all the time? Recursion card recursion is just the bomb. It is just the best way to play. All right, so there you go. So Jocasta, definitely one of my top here allies here in protection. Just the best. She's just the best. And then we got the one that I never actually played. I like it, but I'm not a big fan. It's Protector. So 4 costs. It's Protector. Her name is Alexis. She is a one thwart, 3 attack, 1 thwart, 1 consequence, 3 attack, 2 damage, consequential damage. She is an Android Avenger. The best thing about her is actually her 3 attack, because we do not have any allies that attack for 3, except for, well, technically Iron Fist can attack for 3, but he deals like 1 ping extra damage, so more or less 3, yeah. So again, so this is the second ally that can attack for 3, which is, you know, it's 4 for 3 damage. Yeah, well, actually 4 for 6 damage technically. But if you do decide to pay, when Protector would take any amount of damage, so either from a minion or from attacking using one of her activations, you can spend a mental resource and reduce the amount of that damage by 1, limits once per round. So what's cool about this is technically, if you spend 4 and then every turn you spend 1, you get 1 thwart for 1 by spending a mental every turn. Is that amazing? It is not amazing. I think it's a little expensive. I think if she was a 3 cost, that would make a little bit more sense. Or if it was just spend a generic resource, just spend 1 resource of any type, I think maybe that would have been better. But the fact that it's specific kind of bugs me. But again, it just makes it ways to try to combo off. Again, so you can attack technically for 9 damage by paying 7 resources. Or wait, say 6 resources. Yeah, there you go. That's me. All right, so now let's take a look at some of the basic cards that were introduced. Again, we got a couple of reprints with the Avengers Mansion, and what else did we get? The triple resources and stuff like that. So we didn't get a lot of new stuff in the basics, but we did get a great card called Reboot. Reboot is a 1-cost event action, so that you can do that in Alter Ego, that says ready a friendly android character and heal 1 damage from it. So again, what's cool, if you're Vision and you are in Alter Ego, you can play this and recover twice. I'm like, so that's pretty good. Or you can use it on Vivian and then attack twice, bring her back with Hickory Dickory Lane, and then just do some other stuff. Now, what's kind of weird is you want to be able to do this on a character that's already exhausted, so, or else, because then you're just like, oh, if Vivian already has a point of damage, there's no real point of playing Reboot, you know, because she's just gonna die anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But again, there's ways to play around that. Again, Reboot, I think it's a great new card for androids, so very, very fun. All right. And finally, we have I'm a Machine Man, better than the rest, Machine Man. I know it's Machine Head, but it's all good. So Machine Man, he's a 2-cost ally in basics with 1 thwart, 1 attack, both taking 1 consequence damage with 3 health. He is an android as well. His name is Aaron Stack, and he has an interrupt. When Machine Man attacks or thwarts, you can spend up to 3 resources of any type. Love that. Machine Man gets +1 thwart and +1 attack. And +1 attack for each resource spent this way. So, but the thing is, an interrupt means it's only for 1 attack. It's not until the end of the round, so you cannot, like, it's only once. All right, so it's pretty cool because when he does his activation, so you can spend 3, so you can make him a 4/4. So that's very, very powerful. Now, this with Hulk is my new favorite ally in the Hulk deck, in any Hulk deck. So you have extra resource, you have Mr. Machine Man on the table, you're not wasting your cards in the Hulk deck. You are just feeding him off to this guy, removing threat or dealing extra damage. So for me, Machine Man is a big, big success here in the Vision pack. All right, now let's take a look at the nasty cards. All right, so, before we do the nasty cards, let's look at the bonus cards that we got. All right, so the first bonus card we got is in Aggression. It is the Assault Training. So we've seen the Justice Training, Leadership Training. We've seen them all now. So this was the last one coming out. 1 cost support, condition, max 2 per deck, and uses 2 training counters, alter ego action. Exhaust this card and remove a training counter on it, and choose an aggression event in your discard pile and shuffle it into your deck. So again, what I like about this is, again, I'm thinking about Wasp, who can just cycle more of her events. It's basically Wasp's ability on an aggro card. So again, if you're playing Aggression, unless you're playing aggro control, where you're going to be able to go down to alter ego a little bit more, you're going to be playing this. If not, it's not going to be a card. The only card I can see that you would want to bring back is if you're going to be playing stun locking with the smash the problem, not smash the problem. What's it called there? Drop kicks. So that's the only reason why I would run this. Oh, I can recycle my drop kicks and stuff like that. Draw more cards. Aside from that, maybe Fusillade, maybe depending on what you're really looking for. It's going to be very situation on specific deck builds. I don't recommend playing 2. I think 1 in your deck is going to be more than enough. You put it on the table. If you do happen to flip down, get back your best attack event. Again, you're going to have a discard pile to make that work. But again, it's still something that can work. So it's not too horrible. This I love. This is another Justice staple, 0 cost upgrade, deck thinning to the max. It is a 0 cost upgrade, chance encounter, condition attached to a side scheme, max once per scheme. All right, just there, you need a side scheme, which is fine, but it says interrupt. When attached side scheme is defeated, search your deck and discard pile for an ally and add it to your hand, shuffle your deck. So again, it's ally recursion in Justice. Justice is already one of the strongest formats. Now with one way or another, you go get one way or another, you put that down, you go get you can play Spider-Man, get rid of it, and then go get Nick Fury or go get another great ally, and just keep going like this. And it's so crazy, this card. It's a 0 cost card. For me, this is a top tier card. Being able to fetch you get rid of a side scheme. I'm thinking about like all these low-key side schemes, and you're playing in a 4-player game. There's always going to be a side scheme that's going to be annoying. There you go. Keep recurring Spider-Man. Boom. Done. Every turn. Get one of these out on a side scheme. Bang. Get Spider-Man. Get rid of 12th threat, 14th threat, and then you just keep going. Then he blocks, and then another side scheme pops out. All right, cool. Let's do that again. So for me, chance encounters, bonkers. All right, and then we have our final alliance card. There you go. So we got the crazy one here. Leadership, who's always the best, that always seems to get the best cards. I don't know. I really like the problem solvers. I really like the as one. I like them all. I think this one is just a little too good. So again, it's very situational, but this is a 100% multiplayer card that says hero action. As a group, the players put a total of 1 Avenger and 1 Guardian into play from their hands. All right, well, I have Better Ray Bill. What do you got? Well, I got Giant Man. Cool, that's 10 costs. All right, so let's each spend 2 resources. Done. Now we put 10 costs on the table for 2. Oh no, Better Ray Bill is not 1. Oh, I got Yondu, whatever. You get Yondu or Captain America. There, boom. 6 and 4, 10. So there's all these combos. I have Captain Marvel. What do you got? Oh, I got Drax. There, boom, done. So again, super good, super awesome, powerful alliance card. I think this is, again, one of the stronger ones. Again, it's very situational, but it is, again, if everyone's paying 1 resource on a 4-player game, to be able to put 10 costs of allies on the table, that is just major economics value here. So that is definitely advantage players. All right, and then the final one, we're talking about advantage players. Oh my God, this card, Meditation. Like, if you don't really think about getting a vision, these extra cards, Chance Encounter, Joining Forces, and Meditation, make the whole pack. Flow Like Water, Jocasta, make that pack worthwhile. It's just so good. So meditation, it is a zero cost alter ego. That's it. It's zero cost alter ego action event. Exhaust your alter ego. Play a card from your hand. Reduce its cost by 3. I've played this out in some control decks, and it's crazy. All right, I'm gonna spend that, and I'll put my helicarrier down for free at the cost of an exhaustion. Oh, I got Mockingbird in hand. Boof, I have a 3-cost card. Boof. This gives you Star-Lord's ability at the price of exhausting. So when you get this in your opening hand, it's just too good. It's just so good. You just exhaust your character. Who cares if you're not dealing damage? All right, well, I could have gotten rid of that side scheme. If you have a character that readies, fine. Even better, because then you can do that. So even with Vision, which is cool because you can ready him in alter ego with the, what's that card? The other card, the Reboot. So if you have 2 meditations, 2 3-cost items, and then you got that, you can meditate, put it down, reboot, meditate, put the other one down. Anyway, so that's always like fun combos that you can see, and you can see like how can you combo off with this card. But meditation, definitely very, very solid. A lot of people talking, oh, what about put that in a Hulk deck? I'm like, yeah, man, you definitely, depending on what kind of build you're building with Hulk, but oh, my son's playing with his blocks, so that's all the noise. Luke, shh. All right, and then so let's talk now about the nasty cards. There's only a few more left. All right, here we go. So we got our Corrupted Programming. This is kind of nasty for Vision, but I do like it. I think it's very thematic. It says obligation, give to the Vision player. It doesn't tell you to flip, so be careful. It's not a free flip to alter ego. So this just give it to Vision player. Treat your mass form upgrade text box as if it were blank, except for keywords. So that means where is it intangible? So the only thing that's going to remain is intangible and permanent. Dense and permanent. Everything else is gone. So you don't get to draw a card if you flip to dense, and you don't get to reduce the attack for 2. So this card, it can be deadly depending on what kind of deck you're playing. But you can always go to Alter Ego and exhaust your identity to remove this from the game. So it's not that hard to get rid of. It's just annoying if you get it and then you get Swarm Attack or something like that, and then you have a bunch of minions in front of you because you played the intangible minion collector, Brant. All right, and then let's look at his nemesis, because I'd already seen it like, 4 times out of the 10 games I played with him. We're getting Ultron. Ultron is a 6 health minion. Ultron, Android Elite, 2 scheme, 2 attack, toughness. He's got 2 boost cards on him, and it says Force Interrupt. When Ultron attacks you, if Ultron drone is in play, put the top card of your deck into play face down as a drone. So again, he does the same thing that he does if you're playing him normally. So again, Ultron, he's pretty tough. He's a 2/2, and it's whenever he attacks you. All right, so there you go. So it makes drones kind of like his thing. His side scheme is Ultron Unleashed. So when revealed, you search the encounter deck and discard pile and set aside area for Ultron drones and put it into play. Shuffle the encounter deck, and each player puts the top card of their deck into play face down as a drone. So again, it's 1 acceleration. It's only 3. It's not even 3 per player. So this is super weak. I think this is a typo, but it's just 3. So making Vision's nemesis the easiest nemesis encounter in the game. You just have to remove 3 threat, and that's it. Not 3 per player, just 3 threat. So that kind of feels unbalanced in that. So next one, we got the Ultron drone environment. So that's the same one from his thing. If ever you're playing Ultron on and you get the side scheme, these do not stack up. This is just a reminder state line ability. So after a face down drone minion is defeated, you place that card here, and then each drone is a 1/1. They don't stack up. So if you put this one into play, it's not good. The drones are not 2/2s because of this environment. All right. So the other thing that's kind of funny is if you're playing with Citywide Crisis. Not Citywide Crisis. City of Mayhem, and then that discards the environments. It just makes it very funny because all the drones are all now just gonna die because they're gonna be 0/0s. Because City of Mayhem says What's the... Let me just check, because I forgot what the name of the... Streets of... I'm pretty sure it's Streets of Mayhem. It's from the Hood Scenario Pack. Which one is it then? Not this one. Ah, there you go. Yeah, Streets of Mayhem. So, discard each other environment in play. So that's super funny if you're playing with that, and you're playing against Ultron, and you add that as a modular set. You don't even have to worry about the Ultron drones anymore. They just come into play, go to your discard. Oh no, they don't even go to your discard pile. What happens to those cards? Force response after face down is defeated. Yeah, so if this is not into play, each minion face down is, and then if it's in play, but against Ultron, let me just check one thing, because that could be a very fun interaction here. Where's my Ultron? Alright, Ultron, where are you? It says when Ultron attacks you. Oh yeah, so it just says to put it and to play face down as an Ultron drone. So I think they would just go away. So I think it would just remove your cards from the game, because there's nothing that says they go into play and there's nothing that happens. They just become face down cards with nothing on them. So that's kind of interesting, that little mechanic here. And then he's got 2 copies of Relentless Android. It says, when revealed, if Ultron Drone is in play, put the top 2 cards of your deck into play face down, engage with you as drones. Otherwise, discard 2 random cards from your hand. So again, his Nemesis is definitely a cheeky one, but it's definitely not the hardest one in the game. It's super, super cash. Alright, especially this. This is, I really think this is a misprint, because this should be at least 3 per player. Alright, but that's it. That's it. That wraps up my Vision breakdown of the mechanics and everything. Vision, very, very fun to play. I've already released a video with a couple of deck building ideas, so that could be very, very fun. If you want to look those up, I released a video a couple days ago. Yeah, so check that out in the Vision playlist. If you have any ideas, like even the pre-con was very fun. It took me a minute to get to understand what form I want to be in, and I want to talk a little bit of strategy while playing that pre-con. So I think the first instinct is, I want to go intangible right away, or I want to go dense. And I think going dense on the turn 1 is very good. I think also staying dense on turn 2 is also very smart. And then only go to because you'll be able to trigger your Defiance, you'll be able to play all of your side steps and stuff like that. But if you are intangible, then it's going to make it a little bit harder to play those defense events. And that's where I think people feel that Vision is kind of like counterintuitive. Like, why is he playing protection if I actually want to be intangible? So I think that's where people kind of like, I'm not too sure about it. But if you play it smart, you go intangible when you want to go to alter ego. That's what I figured. Once you figure that out, once you need to remove threat, you go intangible. You remove all the threat you need with your passing throughs and stuff like that. And then, or again, once you start intangible, you go intangible, you have that just passing through, play it right away. And then go to dense form. So again, really being smart about when you're flipping and when you're and when you're going dense and when you're going intangible is really going to help you master this deck. His precon is very solid. I think my first game, I forget who I played. I played Expert Claw, I think, on my first game, like I always do, and yeah, it was pretty much a walk in the park with his precon. It was just very, very good. And again, it's just figuring out that first couple of times there, like, when do I want to be dense? When do I want to be intangible? But once you figure that out, man, Vision is a blast to play. So I hope you enjoyed this video, guys. I hope you check out the video playthroughs of all the deck ideas that I did. I'll be putting out a Vision super decks, which is just going to be Vision playing in all the different aspects with the different aspects, and I'm going to have 2 bonus videos One is going to be for Brant. It's my version of the minion collector, and I'm going to be going up against Expert Ultron with no minions. Yes, that's right. I'm going to be going up against Expert Ultron with no minions in the deck, so that's going to be for Brant. It's going to be a bonus video, and then I'm also going to do a Vision all in basics, because Gray Vision, my God, is so solid. It's just so good. All right, so guys, so that's it. Stay tuned for that. Keep on playing Marvel Champions, and I hope this video with Vision will help you beat the game. Ciao, ciao.